remembering the victims of last week's drowning incident in Dryden. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Ryan Benazzo. A funeral was held in Dryden today for two young siblings who drowned in the Wabigoon River last week. They've now been identified as 15-year-old Caden Grant and 12-year-old Jocelyn Grant. According to the obituary posted for the two children, Jocelyn fell into the river on July 30th and didn't know how to swim. Caden then went in to try to save her, but unfortunately he wasn't a strong swimmer either. First responders arrived quickly that afternoon and eventually recovered the two victims from the water. The tragic incident occurred in the river between the Dryden Recreation Complex and the pulp mill. A GoFundMe has now been set up for the family for costs associated with the loss and to help them during this difficult time. Northwest Region OPP have released more details about a pair of highway fatalities. On Wednesday morning, a driver on Highway 599 north of Ignace spotted a body lying in the northbound lane. Police responded and the deceased was identified as a 48-year-old man from Ignace. OPP won't say at this point whether there was a collision involved, but the crime unit is investigating. Anyone with dash cam video is asked to contact OPP. One day earlier on Tuesday afternoon, a motorcycle traveling at a high speed crashed into the ditch on Highway 17 west of Ignace. The victim has now been identified as a 60-year-old man from Kentucky. The City of Thunder Bay is targeting a 2.6% tax levy increase for the 2026 budget. Administration will present the budget direction report to City Council on Monday night, while also asking council members to endorse a multi-year capital budget. Jessica Clement has the details.
City Council is being asked to endorse a municipal tax levy increase of 2.6% for the 2026 budget. Administration will be making this recommendation at the next meeting when they present their budget direction report.
Similar to last year, we're taking an approach where we're taking a 4-year rolling average of CPI and calculating our recommended levy increase based on that.
City Treasurer Carrie Greaves says there are some budget pressures, which includes wages and benefits for city employees. However, he's confident the tax levy increase can be lowered from the 3.8% figure that was approved for the 2025 budget.
So we're going from 4, 5, 6% with the pressures and to get to 2.6%. And so a lot of work's already been done in trying to identify efficiencies, and a lot more work is going to have to be done. There's going to have to be some trade-offs, but the goal is to have potentially modest impacts on service levels, but the focus is to maintain service levels and come in at that level.
Greaves says they're also recommending changing the yearly budget process to a multi-year budget for capital spending, a first for Thunder Bay. The city would take a measured approach with a 2-year budget targeting a 2.1% overall tax levy increase in 2027. Greaves says this gives them the ability to plan in the future.
The certainty of budget allows us to plan for multi-year, spread that over, and work towards these larger projects and be able to have a little bit more cost certainty and to make sure that we can get the best price we can on those projects.
The 2026 budget direction report is for approval on Monday night, but the actual budget deliberations are scheduled for November for the capital budget and January for the operating side. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
Also on Monday night, City Engineering Director Matthew Miedema will provide council with an update on the 20-year Transportation Master Plan and the Active Transportation Plan. The first includes the $33 million Northwest Arterial project that'll connect Dawson Road to Golf Links Road, while the Active Transportation update will highlight improvements for local cyclists and pedestrians.
Without giving too much away out from the council Monday night, but yeah, we have some next steps ahead. So we've, again, the Northshore Trail is always a big transportation master plan. That's probably the city's biggest transportation initiative in the city, but we also made good progress on active transportation. So we continue to build a network across the city. Work we've done as a Red River Public Realm improvements, that was kind of making it a more pedestrian-friendly road. Continue kind of expanding the active transportation corridor is kind of where we're continuing to look at in terms of road network improvements. Like I would say on a whole, the city has a pretty good transportation network. There are some minor needed gaps here and there, but primarily in pedestrian and active transportation.
Members of the group Palestine Solidarity Thunder Bay held a rally outside Liberal MP Marcus Pawlowski's office this afternoon. They remain concerned about the Canadian government's position on Palestine, despite Prime Minister Mark Carney's announcement a week ago that Canada will recognize a Palestinian state at the 80th session of the UN General Assembly next month.
This intention is predicated on the Palestinian Authority's commitment to much-needed reforms, including commitments by the Palestinian Authority's President Abbas to fundamentally reform its government.
We just think that's just a performance to placate some Canadians who might not know enough about the issue. Because as I mentioned, it's not going to change much because, first of all, Palestinians aren't going to accept those kinds of conditions.
Taina McKee-Shahal was one of more than a dozen protesters seeking a response from Pawlowski after they say repeated calls, emails, and messages have gone unanswered. She notes the group wants his input and they want to see action. Pawlowski did release a statement after Carney's announcement saying he welcomes the Prime Minister's words and calling them an important step. McKee-Shahal still hopes to speak directly with Pawlowski.
Meet with us and let's talk about how he sees that as an important step. So I want to know, what does he know about Palestine and Israel?
I ask Mr. Pawlowski as a human being, as an elected politician, and as a doctor to do something, intervene, interfere, talk to the government and ask them to do something about this.
After the protest, Pawlowski released a statement saying he recognizes the strong emotion surrounding the situation in Palestine and our government, adding that he's open to meeting with the group to engage in important discussions on the matter. Upgrades to Thunder Bay's current river dam fish ladder are nearly finished, with only the fish counters left to install. The project is expected to be completed in September. The Northshore Steelhead Association is leading the project, which makes it easier for rainbow trout to pass through the dam and build a self-sustaining population upriver. The province invested over $175,000 through the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund. Steelhead Association project manager Frank Edson says the funding has been crucial.
Our other funders only were able to allocate a certain number of funds, and we approached the NOHFC and they were willing to accept our project and help us move forward. So the construction is ongoing and it will be hopefully finished on September 9th.
It's important for us, to make sure that we're not just protecting our natural resources, in this case with the fish, but it's also providing an opportunity for residents in the city of Thunder Bay to have access to some fishing here close to home where they're minutes away. So it's a really good investment for us to be making, and it's all about what Northern Ontario Heritage Fund is about. So.
The Northshore Dog Club's 5th annual dog show has gained international attention. The popular event at Chippewa Park welcomed a guest from Lithuania and a judge from Australia. Justin Hardy has more.
Starting off with beautiful weather, trainers, guests, and their animals were able to enjoy the sun and heat down at Chippewa Park. Yvonne Norton, sponsorship chair of the Northshore Dog Club, says the first day of the show has gone extremely well.
We're really excited. Hopefully we have great weather for the rest of the weekend, but our entry is, we have about 150 dogs competing in the show. Every day we have 2 shows on Friday, 1 Saturday, and another 2 shows on Sunday. We run from about 9 to just after 3 o'clock every day.
This local dog show has grown so much it's gained quite a bit of international notice. Some exhibitors have traveled across the globe to be here this weekend, like Intara Tymoshko-Shketa, who has come all the way from Lithuania with her Alaskan Malamute Dante. She says traveling 15 hours in a plane with such a big dog is not the easiest task.
That was very stressful, probably more to me than to him, because Dante he's used to traveling by car. We go long distances, we go like a couple thousand kilometers by car, but that was our very first flight. And we had some major turbulence. He was traveling in cargo, So, you know, he's basically my son. He's my special little boy. I care for him. My heart was shivering practically the whole time.
Tymoshko says the nerve-wracking journey was definitely worth it and that her visit to Thunder Bay has truly been special so far.
I don't know if you people still see what I see, but Canada is just, I'm having shivers. It's so beautiful, the wilderness and nature. So I'm definitely back for the nature, for the sightseeing, and for the dog shows as well. I think that's a very good learning opportunity to me as a breeder and as a handler.
The Northshore Dog Show continues Saturday and Sunday at Chippewa Park. Justin Hardy, TBT News.
Well, we certainly do live in a beautiful part of the world. I think sometimes we forget to appreciate that. But Fiona, a hot day out there for both the handlers and the dogs. That Humidex was something else.
Yeah, that poor Malamute. The Humidex was just a little bit too high, I think, for myself, let alone somebody who's walking around with a thick fur coat, double coat. High of 28 and a Humidex of 38, and that was under mostly cloudy skies, but the clouds were upper level enough that it was still very bright and beautiful out there. Winds were very light in the morning from the southeast, 2 to 10 kilometers per hour. In the afternoon, started to kick up to 27, a Humidex of, gusts up to 33, and that was after an early morning low of 16. Now, if we take a look at what's going on, it's definitely a mixed bag. We've got loads of sunshine in Fort Frances, but mostly cloudy and with periods of rain and smoke up in Red Lake. Temperature-wise, though, pretty consistent, 26, 27, 28, and the Humidex ranging from 34 to 36. As you head further east, in most days, most recent days, it's been a little bit cooler to the east, but not necessarily the case. We've got 30 Celsius at this hour in Greenstone and a Humidex of 37. If we head just a little bit further west, though, Armstrong and down into Nipigon, Marathon, Wawa, they're all in the 25, 26 degree range, but the Humidex there is about 34, fairly consistent. A lot of haze today. Yesterday it was all in Greenstone, but today Armstrong also under a lot of haze. As you head further south along the North Shore, Nipigon and Marathon dealing with lots of smoke in the area. And then down into Sault Ste. Marie this afternoon for a good couple of hours, the Humidex hit 41. At this hour, it's sitting around 38 under partly cloudy skies. So a lot of heat throughout the region. Nobody's getting a break. Here tonight, we are going to see a low of just 19, and the showers will begin sometime after midnight, 5 to 10 millimeters of rain and a risk of a thunderstorm. So as we look at the weekend, we can summarize it with those bands of rain are going to be bringing a brief break to the heat. The morning might not be quite as hot as it has been, quite as muggy, but unfortunately, the heat warnings are going to continue in areas north of Lake Superior and to the east down into Sault Ste. Marie. So that is going to be going on. And here's the good news, a much sunnier second half to the weekend is expected. With any luck, maybe not quite so humid, maybe Humidex values will be a little bit more manageable for humans as well as our four-legged visitors in the city. But all in all, it's going to be a slight, gentle cool down into next week. Nothing severe, but if we can just get a break from the Humidex, I think that's going to make all the difference to most people.
Yeah, just bringing it down a little bit would be great.
Just a smidge.
We know that I like warm temperatures as much as anybody, but yeah, when that Humidex climbs into the high 30s, yeah, it's getting a little extreme.
A little bit.
Right. Thanks a lot, Fiona.